Think of a bullying situation in a middle school in which you have your three parties. You have your victims, your bullies, and your bystander. The victim comes to school every day. It's a hopeless individual, prays to not get beaten up, but that never works out. The bully, a person or a group of people who will relentlessly do anything that they can to make sure that that victim's life is a living hell. And you have your bystander, someone who sees everything going on right in front of them, but has absolutely no interest in helping. Here we have such a classic bullying scenario, and yes, it can be looked at on such a small scale, but it can also be compared to some of the largest events in all of human history. In the early 1930s, the now infamous Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany as the leader of the Nazi Party. To gain support at the beginning of his campaign, Hitler created an enemy. That enemy was the Jewish people. He repeatedly said that every problem within the country could be blamed on the Jews. As this was going on, and for long after, millions and millions of people sat back and watched as Hitler and the Nazi Party handpicked people from the Jewish religion and threw them into each stage of genocide. Now in this situation, those millions of people will obviously be the bystanders, the Nazis, the bullies, and the Jewish people, the victims. Bullying can start off slow and subtly, but it will eventually become reckless and unforgiving. It can start with getting pushed around in the hallway, or it can start with one group of people telling another group of people that they are forced to wear a yellow star on their outside piece of clothing so that everybody around them knows that they are less. Gregory Stanton, a research professor of genocide at the George Mason University, once said, "To best stop a genocide, you must attack it at each stage." This is a perfect stepping stool into the very wise words of Simon Wiesenthal, where he said, "For evil to flourish, it only requires good men and good women to do nothing." If a massive group, or maybe even just one individual bystander, tried to interfere with Hitler and the Nazis' actions at the early stages of that war, the world that we are living in today could be an extremely different place. Now, just like the kid who was getting pushed around in the hallway, the Jewish people did fight back. Throughout the whole entire war, there were partisan movements, with Jews attempting to liberate other Jews from the camps. In the ghettos, brave individuals would escape for the sole purpose of coming back and setting others free. But even if every single person that had been objectified by the number tattooed on their arm got up and fought back with every ounce of their being, it simply wouldn't be enough, because there was not enough power and not enough people to overcome these events with just the Jewish people alone. Some people stood by because they were lazy. Other people stood by because they were scared. But those who had never formed an opinion stood by because it was normal. The late Maya Angelou once said that if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how truly amazing you can be. It was these people, the people that let others decide their fate, the people that let their next door neighbors decide what their next move was going to be, who Simon Wiesenthal was trying to reach with this quote. All of these people, who very well could have been the solution to one of the biggest problems that this world has ever seen, but instead they stepped back and hopelessly waited for somebody else to try and change what society thought as to be normal. Thank you.